A physical property that is really important to chemists is density. And the density of a substance or chemical is defined as the mass of that chemical divided by the volume of that chemical. And we write this formula as D equals M over B. So M will have units of grams. That's what we use to measure mass. And volume can have either units of centimeters cubed, sometimes expressed as cc in the medical field, or milliliters. And a milliliter is actually equal to a centimeter cubed. So let's look at these three cubes. So they all have the same volume, 1 centimeter cubed. They're each a cube with a side of centimeter. And foam has a mass of 0.03 grams, diamond has a mass of 3.5 grams, and iron has a mass of 7.8 grams. So even though the volume is the same for each of these three substances, the mass is different, and so the density is going to be different, and density can be used to help us identify chemicals. Now, we know about density in our everyday life, but we don't tend to define it as density. For example, we might say foam is lighter than iron. And it's really not. If you have a pound of foam, it weighs the same as a pound of iron. So the mass isn't really what we're comparing when we think about foam versus iron. It's the density. So foam has much smaller density than iron, so the same volume will have much less mass. So that's how we talk about it in our everyday life. We say it's lighter when we actually mean it's less dense. So let's put this formula of density to the test. Let's apply it and solve this worked problem 2.1. Pure gold has a density of 19.3 grams per centimeter cubed. So here's our unit of mass per volume for density. A US $50 gold eagle coin has a mass of 33.3 grams and a volume of 1.84 centimeters cubed. Is this coin made of pure gold? So pause the video and see if you can figure this out. So here is the solution. We are going to calculate the density of this gold coin since we're given the mass and we're given the volume, and we'll compare it to the density of gold. So 33.3 grams divided by 1.84 centimeters cubed is equal to 18.1. Now, our calculator will do the computation, but you have to make sure you have the correct unit. So the unit for density is mass over volume. So 18.1 grams per centimeter cubed. We compare this to the density of pure gold and realize it's not the same, so this gold coin is not pure gold. Now, because there are three variables in the density formula, you could be asked to solve for any one of those three variables. And here, the reorganization of the density formula to solve for each variable. So if you're solving for density, you take mass and divide it by volume, and your final unit for density will be grams per milliliter or grams per centimeter cubed. If you're solving for volume, that's going to be mass divided by density, and your final units will be milliliters or centimeters cubed. And then if you're solving for mass, that's going to be density times volume, and your final units will be grams. Now, it's really important that you write your units as you do the math, because that will help you figure out if you set everything up correctly. If your units are correct with your answer, then that's a pretty good clue that you did the math correctly to solve for whatever physical property you're solving for.